What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Aftersound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. This video is also brought to you by two things. Since we don't do any sponsorships here on the channel, I'll go ahead and shill them out real quick. The first is my music, which is available anywhere you stream music under the name Aftersound, and the second is a new podcast I just launched called Chasing Infinity. Links in the description below. Check them out. Let me know what you think, and I appreciate the support. Okay, guys, let's talk about new players, and more specifically, Spellbooks, or Spellbook purchases, I should say, that have risen over the last week. Now, the numbers are not going to blow you away, but I want to give this to you in context because I think it is incredibly important, especially with the recent video that I just put out about the team essentially opening this up to a free-to-play or offering a free-to-play version of the game as well, because I think that will only create a wider funnel that brings people into this ecosystem. So keep in mind, the free-to-play thing just went live today. So all the data that we're looking at is from before that. And you can see here, when we look over the past 30 days, right? That's what I'm looking at right now. You can see here that the amount of Spellbook purchases has increased just ever so slightly, okay? So you can see here that there's 2 there, 7 there, 1, 5, 1, 3, 3, 2. Now that may not seem like much, right? But let me just go to we'll go, for example, like the 6 month here. And you can see that there's a little bit of like movement there. It's bubbling up compared to the past, or maybe 3 months might be a little bit easier. And I know this is all just kind of like visual, right? But most days we get maybe 1 or 2 or 0, right? Whenever there's a gap there, it's not, outside of whatever this day was where we got 11. But, outside of that, we're not having like consistently 3, 5, or 7 or higher, right? Now, why is the last 7 days so important? And why am I getting so excited about this? It's because in the last 7 days, we had the election here in the US, and post-election, we saw Bitcoin go to all-time highs. And in fact, pretty much every day since the election, it feels like it's been reaching a new all-time high every single day. So what does that tell you? Well, when there is excitement, when the market starts moving, people feel like their pockets are a little bit fuller for whatever reason, right? And they're going in and checking out other projects. They're seeing what's further down the risk curve, and Splinterlands is one of those things. So is it any surprise to me that we're starting to see an increased amount of Spellbook purchases on the same days that Bitcoin is setting new all-time highs? Not really. In fact, this is probably one of the most encouraging things because it's confirming the same thesis that we've seen play out pretty much every 4 years since Bitcoin began its journey. So what does this tell me for the long run? Well, like I said, let's not get too excited here. The numbers are small, they're very humble, but the sign that it tells, right? The sign that it shows to me is incredibly important. Right now, retail is not back yet, right? Retail, and if they are back, they're looking at Bitcoin, Big Daddy Bitcoin, because that is the one that is setting new all-time highs. Every other project is getting a little bit of momentum, but only from those who are like already crypto savvy and looking at other projects and thinking about where can I and will I deploy capital once this thing really takes off, right? Because even though Bitcoin is setting new all-time highs, I think most people anticipate like the next, well, I guess we're not 12 months anymore. I think, maybe like 11 months, right? 10, 12 months, whatever you want to call it. I'm thinking through like Q4 of next year. At this point, like we are all anticipating that 2025 is going to be a wild ride, especially if Bitcoin starts to move due to nation state adoption, due to the US implementing a strategic reserve, national strategic reserve, through corporations starting to buy, right? There's a new one today that just announced they're going to buy 120 million. I believe it's Genius Group, right? So there's a lot of excitement here that's happening. And it feels like it's still early, but it's bubbling just underneath the surface, right? Right before the water starts to boil, you can tell it's about to boil, and that's where it feels like we are. And so if people are already at this point, not just checking out the game, but choosing to buy Spellbooks, right? Choosing to buy Spellbooks over the last couple of days with data that, in my opinion, is significantly higher than what we've seen previously, I cannot imagine what that is going to look like as we move forward. Bitcoin starts setting new all-time highs. Alts finally get an alt season if we do, and Splinterlands being a part of that. Now, combine that with the fact that it's now easier for players to come in with a new player, the new player experience also, but the free-to-play experience, to come in, check out the game with zero friction, give it a try, see if they like it first. That, to me, creates a much wider funnel, as I was talking about the last video, and could potentially lead to even more Spellbook purchases. But if we're seeing Spellbook purchases now, that has nothing to do with that. It has everything to do with the fact that people are looking, people are starting to check things out. And I believe, as I said earlier, that retail is not here in full force the way that we saw it mid 2021 or early 2021. I do believe that is still going to happen. I still think that we're not at the end of this yet, that we are going to continue riding this wave. For how long, how crazy, I have no idea, but it does feel like things are just getting started here. I mean, for example, the new administration hasn't even taken office yet. They're not taking office for another 2 months. And only at that point will we get a crypto-friendly administration, which could start to really shake things up. If they start buying Bitcoin and putting it on the National Strategic Reserve, if they start making crypto-friendly regulations, right? All these different things over the next couple of months, right? Well, 6 to 12 months, we'll call it. So the fact that we're already starting to see significant data just in the past 7 days, to me, is really exciting. Again, I don't want it to be overblown, and I don't want to get too excited about it, but I think it does prove what I'm trying to say in a very small dose. And what the Splinterlands team is doing and accomplishing, today and hopefully over the next couple of weeks and months with all of the other different game modes that they want to add, the new set with Conclave Arcana, Land 1.75, all these different things are only going to add further value to the ecosystem and get people hooked even more. So again, I know I'm being a little bullish here, and I'm sharing data with you that you might deem insignificant, but in my humble opinion, I don't think that it is insignificant. We're seeing a rise in Bitcoin, and correlated with that versus previous data, we are now seeing a rise in Spellbook purchases. And with the innovations that were just launched today, as well as all the things that we know will be coming up over the next couple of weeks and months, I think it's safe to say that there's exciting times ahead for Splinterlands. So if you're new, checking out the game, definitely let me know in the comments below. But for those who've been around for a while as well, curious to hear your thoughts on this. Looking forward to chatting you about it in a future comments video. But that's all I got for you here. I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.